Who will be the one running back to make it into the first round in the 2021 NFL Draft? We're going to go into my running back rankings, and if you want to see all of my running back rankings, go to Fan to Fan Network. I got the whole expanded list. I'm going to give you my top 10 right here, right now. I'm Stephen Lagardelle, better known as Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. Subscribe, become a bro and subscribe. And if you're actually viewing this on the website, what are you doing? I pump out a lot of draft content. Go check it out. Just saying. I might end up saying that a lot. I say just saying a lot. I don't know why. But before we get into that, I do have merch. I have a buddy that, he was like, hey, let me make some shirts. I'm like, sure, let's do it. So I got that link in the description below. It's the pinned comment as well. So check that out if you like. Let's go ahead. Let's dive in. We're going to start with Travis Etienne. He was on the thumbnail. You should have known this was coming. I love him. He was my running back one in the 2020 NFL Draft. Decided to come back. He's staying there. The dude averaged a broken tackle on every third attempt, or every third of an attempt. There we go. Wow, that's wild, because that's ridiculous. That's why I'm so flabbergasted by it. But he also averaged 4.7 yards after contact per attempt. He improved dramatically as a receiver. I mean, you could just watch in the playoffs. The dude was lightning in the bottle with the ball in his hands. He's a home run threat whenever he has the ball. Scary acceleration. His explosion's off the charts. Great speed. If you really want to nitpick when it comes to Travis Etienne, I guess he can sit too long while he looks for a hole, while he waits for the holes to develop, get big enough. I mean, again, I'm nitpicking at this point. The guy's great. Probably the closest thing to a first-round running back since Saquon Barkley. That's right. I said it. At number 2, and this was close, I got Najee Harris out of Alabama, just edging out my number 3. Mainly because this dude's a fabulous receiver for his size. The guy is really, really good. As a receiver, he had 11 broken tackles on catches, and then he had 7 touchdowns. This is all receiving. Dude's just a monster with the ball in his hands in general. He had gains of 10 plus yards on 22.7 of his carries. The biggest thing I think people are gonna knock him for is he's got below average speed. He doesn't really pull away from defenders. You'd be like, yeah, he may average, or he may get that 10 plus yard gain, but he's not going to take it to the house for 60. No, but there's something to be said for a guy that just keeps getting you first downs. And like I said, he's was pretty incredible as a receiver. And again, despite the lack in speed, guy can kind of cut on a dime. At number 3, I got Chuba Hubbard. I don't know. I think Bubba Hubba, so I gotta say it like that. I don't know. But the guy, he's a churner, dude. He doesn't go down after contact. Matter of fact, he had over 1,300 yards after contact. It actually was more than a lot of running backs had in general as far as rushing. Nice agility and burst. He's very physical too. He plays big and maneuvers well between the tackles. I know a lot of people say he's got track speed. I don't know. In my opinion, it looks a little different on the field. I don't think he necessarily has pull away speed. Not saying that because he pulled away plenty of times in the Big 12, but when you get to the NFL, I don't know. Maybe that he'll change my mind on that. Maybe I'm being a bit nitpicky when it comes to him, but he was rarely ever used as a receiver in 2019, so I'd like to see him used more in the pass game. In 2018, he was actually used a ton in the pass game, so I know he's capable of it. I just want to see more of it. So there you go. At number 4, Kenneth Gainwell out of Memphis. The dude's explosive, both as a receiver and a running back. Dude had 37 plays for 15 plus yards. Ridiculous speed. The problem I have with him, besides the lack of competition, and I know a lot of people say it doesn't matter, but it does kind of matter to an extent, is he's still kind of growing in his build. He's only 5'11", 191, so I don't know if he'll ever, I mean, you could say, oh, he'll never be a bell cow, but what teams nowadays really don't run running back by committee? nowadays, you know? So that's not really as important as it once was. I still think he's phenomenally talented. At 5, I got Trey Sermon out of Ohio State. He actually is a transfer from Oklahoma. The guy, the best comp I could give you is he's beast mode light. Just the way he plays, he's very slippery, shrugs off contact. He actually led last season, or led the Big 12 last season with 4.31 yards after contact. He's actually kind of a big play threat despite his lack of explosion and breakaway speed. Thing is, and here I go with another comp, he is, I think, very, or at least his ability is comparable to TJ Yeldon, as far as he's good at much but a master of none. And I mean, that makes you a quality back on team, but it never makes you the back on the team. At number 6 is kind of an underdog for me. I'm a big fan of Lyn-J Dixon out of Clemson. He has the privilege of having to sit behind Travis Etienne, but this guy is really good. I mean, his size, it's a bit iffy, 5'9", 190, but the dude has game-breaking ability and speed. He averaged 7 yards per carry. Again, this is a bit of a small sample size, but he's got a good workload considering he's the number 2 back there. He was you saw a big increase last season in his role in the passing game as both a receiver and a blocker. He's actually a pretty darn good pass blocker, and typically they ask him to pass block a lot. So I'd like to see him be used more as a receiver. But I'm just saying, this is a guy, and there goes that phrase again, I'm just saying, I feel really good about this guy. So kind of just wait and see. At number 7 is Journey Brown out of Penn State. I know a lot of people were trying to hammer him because I didn't have him high on my list. It's just the dude's very limited in the pass game. At least he was in 2019. And for me, if you're a running back and you're not really utilized in the pass game, you don't bring much to the passing game, it's kind of a big knock. But, you know, I'll give some people their due. The guy, he's great combination of speed, size, and power, especially the power aspect. This guy potentially might run under a 4.3. He's got good patience, good vision. He really excels as a inside runner. I'd like to see him bounce more on the outside. So a lot of this, honestly, for me is projection based on his ability, because it really gets under my craw that I just want to see more out of the pass game. I want to see him used as a receiver a bit more. Fair? Thought so. At number 8, I got Demetric Bolton out of UCLA. This guy has no problem being used as a receiver. He's actually a very effective receiver. He should be the starter, so he should at UCLA now that Josh Kelly is gone. So you should see an uptick in usage. He played a lot in the slot, but he was also elusive there at the running back position. He's a stellar route runner, good after the catch. He averaged 10 yards after the catch last year. Also, he has some pretty bonker return skills. And like I said, elusive as a runner. He kind of, like, I'm not saying he is going to be like he's more pass catching back than actual running back, but I think it's easier to teach someone with really good receiving skills, with ball skills, route running, to play running back than vice versa. So a little high on him. At 9, I got Zamir White out of Georgia. Very small sample size. He's had to sit behind a lot of good running backs there at Georgia, excuse me. But he's got very good athleticism. Dude's a former 5-star recruit. He's big, he's fast, but not really dynamic. You know, he doesn't really shake defenders. Kind of goes down after contact. I'm a bit meh on him. If anything, he's kind of like the most average back in this class, but he does do running back things very well. I just want to see him break tackles more. Just want to see a little bit after contact. maybe a little bit in the receiving game, but he hasn't had a full workload there at Georgia, so it'll be interesting to watch this year. And then at 10, I got Puka Williams Jr. out of Kansas. Very small guy. He's definitely a scat back. He's only 5'10", 170, but the dude broke tackle per 0.37 attempts. Flat out just fast. Very bouncy in the backfield. Probably the best receiving back in this draft, and that's despite, I mean, you just heard how I talked about Fulton, so that kind of says a lot. He only had a 1.6 drop rate. He had 24 broken tackles on receptions, so he'll never be able to take a full workload. But like I said, typically you're seeing backs by committee, so who will nowadays? A little bit of a red flag as far as his, maybe a character concern. He does have a domestic battery charge back in 2018, so maybe that might be need to looked into a little bit. But overall, like I said, probably the top scat back in this class, probably right after Kenneth Gainwell, because like I said, I'm kind of concerned about the size. But if you want to check out my full rankings, go to the website, and that's it for the video. Go ahead, do that YouTube stuff. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.